It's a mighty hard road that my poor hands have hoed. My poor feet have traveled a hard, dusty road. Out of your dust bowl and westward we rode, and your desert was hot, and your mountain was cold. I've worked in your orchards of peaches and prunes. I've slept on the ground in the light of the moon. At the edge of the cities you'll see us, and then we come with the dust, and we go with the wind. California, Arizona, I harvest your crops. Well, it's north up to Oregon to gather your hops, to take the beets from your ground cut, the grapes from your vine, to set on your table your light, sparkling wine. Green pastures of plenty from dry desert ground, from the Grand Coulee Dam where the waters run down. Every state in the Union us migrants have been, and we'll work in this fight, and we'll fight till we win. It's always we've rambled that river and I, all along your green valley. I'll work till I die. This land I'll defend with my life if need be, 'cause my pastures of plenty must always be free. It's a mighty hard road that my poor hands have hoed. My poor feet have traveled a hot, dusty road. Out of your dust bowl and westward we rode, and your desert was hot, and your mountain was cold. Thank you.
All right, everybody. Let me get this out. I'm gonna get it. There we go. Can everybody hear me okay? I'm your MC tonight, yo. All right, here we go. We're gonna start, to get everybody to know we're getting started, we're gonna start with Dare to Struggle. 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 That's right. I love it. All right. So, I'm going to ask you guys, we're going to do something that we start off every CPI event with. And it's a moment of respect. I'll tell you a little history where it comes from. It comes from the Soviet Union, but hear me out, libertarians. I think you'll like it. Stick around. It was written by the World Democratic Youth Federation, and it came out in 1947 as a way to bring the youth of the world together against war. So anytime we have a meeting, we recite the Pledge of Unity. We put up our right hand, and you don't need to know it because I'm going to say it, and you can repeat it, all right? And we've replaced youth with people, so here we go. The CPI Pledge of Unity. Hold up your right hand. Everybody stand up if you wouldn't mind. Get involved. Come on, do me a solid. All right. Are you ready? Solidarity for the working class. Here we go. We pledge that we shall remember this unity. Forged at the end of the Second World War. Not only today, not only this week. This year, but always. Until we have built the world we have dreamed of and fought for. We pledge ourselves to build the unity of the people of the world. all races, all colors, all nationalities, all beliefs. To eliminate all traces of fascism from the earth. To build a deep and sincere international friendship among the peoples of the world. To keep a just and lasting peace. To eliminate want, frustration, and enforced idleness. We have come to confirm the unity of all people. To salute our comrades who have died. And pledge our word that skillful hands, keen brains, and bold enthusiasm shall never more be wasted in war. Amen. Thank you, guys. Any reporters in here, pay attention to the eliminate fascism part. That's in there. We say it every meeting. All right? My name is Tyler McConnell. I am a school teacher in rural Missouri, and I'll tell you a little bit more about me later on. But today, I just want to tell you a little bit about CPI, what it is, why I joined it, what it can do for us. All right? Our leader, Caleb Maupin, asked that I share this quote by Marx. We'll quote from the Bible of CPI here to get started. The increasing improvement of machinery, ever more rapidly developing, makes their livelihood more and more precarious. The collusions between individual workmen and individual bourgeois take more and more the character of collisions between two classes. Thereupon, the workers begin to form combinations against the bourgeois. They clubbed together in order to keep up the rate of wages. They found permanent associations in order to make provision beforehand for these occasional revolts. Here and there, the contest breaks out into riots. Now and then, the workers are victorious, but only for a time. The real fruit of their battle lies not in the immediate result, but in the ever-expanding union of the workers. Now, doesn't that sound like the Libertarian Party? And us coming together? It does to me. There's a good joke there, like how many Ron Paul fans can you fit in a commie convention? I don't know, but we're testing it out tonight. So I appreciate you guys all being here. So what is CPI? What is the Center for Political Innovation? Well, my first sales tip to somebody would be we are here to finish what Bernie Sanders started. He failed to do it. He sold out at the 0 hour. Okay? This is us on the left. We are the anti-cancel culture left. We consider ourselves the real left. Okay? We do. I like to think that these kind of events make liberals tremble because this is the real union of the working class. Okay? We're willing to look past differences to work together on things like not sending $100 billion to Eastern Europe for God knows what. All right? So we'll figure out the bathrooms later. All right? Let's do that first. Okay? Here's our 4-point plan. All right? I'm not going to read it all, but the highlights, so you get the idea. I love because CPI is so simple. Some of these organizations, you're like, what the hell do they stand for? I have no idea. CPI, you can go to the website, 1, 2, 3, 4. There it is, all right? We, the Center for Political Innovation, see that urgent measures are needed to save the country from the disaster created by the greed of billionaire bankers, all right? And we put together this 4-point plan. Number 1, a mass mobilization to rebuild the country. Imagine what we could do for the working class with that $100 billion that just went to God knows where, the Ukraine slush fund. Imagine, if you're going to spend the money anyway, spend it on our people right here, right? Makes sense to me. I'm just a rural boy from Missouri, but it makes sense to me. All right? First time in D.C., by the way. Whew, it's kind of weird. It's like Disneyland for the federal death machine. It's very weird. All right, number 2. Public ownership of natural resources. Now, my libertarian friends might have some problems with this one, but this is the way I see it. And it goes back to Thomas Paine, if you read his pamphlet, Agrarian Justice from 1793. I like to teach it in class. Don't tell anybody. Mom, if you're watching, all right? God created the earth. This is the way I see it. And after he created the earth, did he set up a land office? You get that section over there. You get that section over there. You get that section over there. And Rockefeller, you can have all the oil. I love you the most. All right? Which goes into number 3. Public control of banking. He didn't say, hey, J.P. Morgan, you can be Rockefeller's right-hand man. Okay? If we're going to have a banking sector at all, I think we should use credit to provide for the people, to help people. I'm $70,000 in student debt. I make $35,000 a year. Okay? How am I going to get out of that one? I don't know. But we'll see. Maybe sending $100 billion to the Ukraine will help. Joe Biden promised, right? Thank you, Joe. Let's go, Brandon. And finally, an economic bill of rights. FDR set it up. You should have the right to a job. Housing, education, and health care must be added to the U.S. Constitution. No one in this country should be left hungry while so much wealth exists. I saw homeless people sleeping a block from the White House. Joe, send out a staffer, you know? Take them to a 1-bedroom apartment. I slept in one when I went to the dark arts of journalism school at Mizzou. Take them there. All right? But I think the gravy train can run for a while, but when it finally starts to collapse, people are going to look for ideas. They're going to look for people with answers. And that's why we think the CPI will come in. And we hope you'll join us. As Caleb says, Noah didn't build the ark when it started raining. He built it beforehand. So in the meantime, our job is to educate and organize. And like I said, we take a lot of people. We want to build a 1 million person movement. All right? We don't believe in degrowth. And we acknowledge America's done some bad things, but like a lot of other leftist organizations, we don't focus on those. In the classroom, I like to focus on the Americans that I can be proud of, like John Brown. All right? Like Fred Hampton, right? Like Martin Luther King, right? I told my students I was going to D.C. to talk, and they go, Mr. McConnell, aren't you afraid you'll get killed? And I said, well, if I do, you can take Martin Luther King's picture off the wall and put mine up there. All right? I was raised in church. My dad was a Southern Baptist evangelist, and I took Christianity seriously. I want to live for something bigger than myself, and I'm willing to die for it, and that's why I'm a communist. So, what do we need? We need a government of action to fight for working families. Yeah. All right? Yeah. If we're going to have a government at all, it should help working families. I have my libertarian friend. You guys will like this. We go back and forth. I always say, John, just go live in the woods. I'll build the bullet train. Okay? But in between, we can work together. So, we are also open to all faiths. And we are an anti-cancel culture organization. If you genuinely love the American people and you want to see them live better, more fulfilled lives on a solid, not exploitative economic foundation, we're not against getting rich. We just don't want homeless people sleeping next to the White House. All right? And CPI is the organization for you. We are not just on the internet whining. We are in real life building. And we hope you'll join us and do the same. Thank you, guys. So that's my opening remarks. And now we're going to call up a couple of our board members, Elizabeth and Jetta, and they're going to have a set-down kind of podcast conversation. You guys ready for that? Yeah. All right. And there's some big names here. Look around the room. Nobody go anywhere. We're going to have some big speakers later on, all right?
Thank you all so much for being here. We're so happy that you all decided to join us tonight. We're just going to have a conversational talk, just kind of tone it down for a second. And we have some sort of questions to start us off. We're going to have a conversation here. Okay. So the first one that we're going to start a discussion with is, how do Americans engage with politics? And how did we engage with politics? I'll start, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So I feel like a lot of Americans engage with politics through the proxy provided by the national security state. The proxy provided by the national security state. Do we have a sound? Turn it up, maybe. Okay, is that better?
You can hear us now? Okay.
Is that all right? Okay, great. So let me start again. I find that a lot of Americans engage with politics through the proxy of the national security state, which is the media and social media. So this creates a lot of misperceptions. I'll give you an example, okay? So in the last few weeks, you probably heard a lot about a specific balloon, you know? Have you all heard about a balloon recently? Okay. So you'll notice that the media started out with the story, Chinese spy balloon, okay? And that narrative fell apart within just a couple days. You know, it fell apart right away, basically. But that doesn't matter because the spy balloon is in their minds now. That word is embedded in the social consciousness, and that's how that works. It doesn't matter that it was a Chinese weather balloon that had been tracked way before it got off course, that this was a media spectacle that was selected. So that's an example. That's just one example. Do you want to?
Yeah, another thing I noticed is that most Americans that even try to engage, they get turned off because then the leaders become sellouts, opportunists, and a lot of Americans are busy, you know, or just trying to survive. I work full time, pretty much 12 hours a day. I was lucky I was able to come here to join. So yeah, that's one of the things. And I've also noticed there's a lot of, you talked about spirituality, how it's good, it's being encouraged, but it's like more inward and selfish spirituality on your own. It's not like a collective spirituality. I think the left should take that back. We need to have a community. We need to be spiritually connected to each other. Even if you don't believe in God, if you're an atheist or you have other religion, the fact that we're all humans, you know, we're part of humankind. We need to connect to each other, and we need to have a community.
Yeah, I can second that. When, you know, I engaged with politics quite cynically before. Before the last few years, I engaged with politics cynically, and I was, you know, I was focused on an inward-looking spirituality and personal development. But then I realized that that's not, that we need to be a part of something, that we need to be in coalition, that we need to be in community, that those things are part of spirituality. They're a part of human experience. Being together is, you know, part of that political journey for me. It's not politics is not a solo pursuit. So that was part of my journey, where I had to move from cynicism to optimism.
Yes, I agree. And even myself, I got engaged in this because I'm an immigrant, and I had this big idea. I'm originally from the Philippines, of how America is, and I come here and oh my God, it's a mess. So I was like, this is not what they sold us in the Philippines. Like the workplace, there's a lot of exploitation and greed and prioritizing of profits over the patients. So I was like very, very depressed about it, and I started looking for something. And my daughter went to college. It was a mess going to college. She was like top of her class. She was given like 120,000 scholarship, but then she still has 100,000 student loans. So like, this is a scam. So I needed answers. I became involved with Bernie. I campaigned for Bernie in Iowa, and then got disappointed with Bernie. And like, whole year 2020, I became from like a liberal, rad-lib, socialist, anarchist, Maoist, Marxist-Leninist in 1 year.
So I guess that's what you would say helped shake you out of that way of thinking, that simplistic way of thinking was through personal experience, right?
Yes, it wasn't through like college, like intellectually curious about Marxism. It's really my life experience that made me question everything I've learned.
Yeah, I think that's what is going to that's what's stirring the people. In the rally today, I talked to people. It was their personal experiences, their connection that made it so real for people, and their stories really moved me. For me, what shook me, I would say, is honestly, before I was scared to actually broach certain topics, to actually investigate, to read, to gather information, and I had to let go of my fear of knowing more, and that's what led me. It was like rejecting that fear of information. Oh no, maybe this, maybe that. No, it's better to investigate. And from there, I learned that there's, it's added complexity. It's added complexity to my viewpoint. And it's, though some ideas result in tension, whether it's internal or tension between various ideas and groups, that complexity led me to reject what we call here the synthetic left. That would be U.S. represented Western leftism, which is based around the academy, which is alienating to regular working class people, that looks down on regular working class people, that has no time for the economic base, that really that's really fundamental to the core of people's lives. Can they start a small business? Can they have a better future for their children? That caused me to reject the U.S. Western leftism. And don't be afraid of information. That's what I tell people. Don't be afraid to know. It's good to know. It might make you have to do something. It might make you have to get involved, but it's worth doing. So, yeah. Sorry for taking over.
No, go ahead. What do you think are the needs of everyday Americans that CPI can help out?
Yeah, I mean, that's a really good question. We kind of touched on this, of course, that community is important. CPI foregrounds community and rejects, people are so alienated and so scared to join anything and be a part of anything. And that's causing people to, enter a place of complete depression, complete despair, and that alienation from community. CPI rejects that. And do you want to address that?
Yeah, I think we could have a room for a sense of belonging, unity, optimism, a bright future for America.
Yeah. Okay, so let's just talk about the core vision of CPI. I think Tyler did a wonderful job addressing this, what we're all about. But we could say a few words. Tyler said it so well tonight. So, do you want to start?
I feel like we could give a hopeful message based on historical materialism. Like, we don't have to hate capitalism per se, but we want to transcend it to the next level, which we think is socialism. It means we need to be, the rewards shouldn't just go to the few, it should go for the whole society. we appreciate how capitalism moved humanity forward. You know, we started hunter-gatherers, and then feudalism, and then capitalism. It brought us some prosperity, you know, technological innovation, but then now we're hitting the limits of it. We need to break that ceiling and go to the next level for our society.
What you said just there really spoke to me. Yeah, because you see now, like, the people in their innovation, their ideas, and their dreams, they're basically crushed. Instead of development, instead of new industry, new technology being good and furthering people's lives, it's either suppressed or it causes people to have anxiety. Will I be able to live? Will I be able to have a family? Will I be able to have a house? It puts people in precarity. When technology is good, it's a positive thing. It's moving us forward. But capitalism isn't able to address that. So that's educating people around what the vision is.
I like the idea that we read the CPI books, you know, almost like a Bible study, and we read with various peoples and not dictating dogma upon them. And I also like the idea that we shouldn't crown ourselves as the vanguard. We're here to assist the birth of the future vanguard party.
Absolutely. There's many influences we draw from. We don't reject people based on their affiliations with different groups, but we seek to work together with people. We don't think we have the one true anything, but we recognize the problem, and we think that education and information, that building coalitions is the way forward. And we really, we're glad to have been able to speak to you. We're going to wrap it up now, but thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having and for coming. Thank you so much.